Well, welcome back to the channel, Old Cars New Van. And in June 2025, I did my one and only tribute to a very favourite channel of mine, Quarterlight, where I tried filming a car brochure channel for our Nissan Sunny estate. So in a similar vein, because this particular brochure came with Maia's Fiat 127 that she's recently bought, I thought I'd try and do the same thing again for this. This must be a very rare brochure. Well, I say brochure, it's more like a little pamphlet really, featuring the range of Fiat 127 in the UK in April 1982, which pretty much dates exactly to when our car was produced. On the front cover, you'll see the star of the lineup, the 75 horsepower 1300 Fiat 127 GT. Now you have to remember that at this stage the Fiat 127 really was on its last legs in the UK. It was just about to be replaced by the Fiat Uno, and it really was a 1970s car dressed up as a 1980s look-alike to try and still make it competitive in the marketplace. And clearly more modern examples from rival production companies had really surpassed it already. So the 1300 GT, 1300 was actually the largest engine ever fitted to the 127 in the UK. I'm not aware of any bigger engines in other markets, but I'll be happily stand corrected on that point. And obviously was bigger and actually faster than the more famous sort of Sport, which we all saw in the 70s, very often sporting its orange paintwork. But yeah, that was pride of place on the front of the brochure. And as we turn over, we begin to explore the range. Maia's car is a 1050 Comfort. Comfort really is the bottom of the range. You didn't get a lot, well, very little in fact. Headrests, that was about it. You didn't even get a radio as standard. But the one thing that Maia's car does have is the bigger engine, the 1050, because bottom of the bottom range would have been the 900 Comfort. My goodness me, that's an old pushrod engine. Yeah, that really is quite antiquated. So at least we've got the 1050 Comfort, and you'll see there in the top left-hand corner, really almost Maia's car. I mean, that's identical in every way, isn't it? So next to it is the 1050 Super. Now the Super is a much plusher version, and we'll look at that later with some of the photographs. And one of the biggest changes was obviously you went from a 4-speed gearbox that we have in Maia's car to 5-speed, which would have made it a much more viable concern for long distance cruising. Anyway, let's have a little look at the text. The world-famous car designer Giorgio Giugiaro has taken the best-selling 127 of the 1970s and gone one better. A range of 4 models with all the lively performance of the original. Well, I'm not sure you'd have said that if you'd ended up with a 900, but anyway. Plus a new sleek front, a revamped grille incorporating rectangular halogen headlights, a side rubbing strip to protect the original the paintwork, and toughened plastic bumpers to shrug off life's little knocks. You see, in informal circles, this is called a Series 3 car. I say informal circles because I'm not sure it was ever called a Series 3 by Fiat, but everybody on the sort of Fiat 127 Owners Club refers to these very late models as Series 3, and they're incredibly rare because, as I say, it was the last-ditch attempt to sell a few of the body shells before the Uno came in, and really they were only available for about 18 months, and so few have survived. I mean, as I said in a previous video, we estimate our 1050 Comfort to be the only one left on the UK roads. Looking down beneath it, you can see the dashboard of the Super. Now, this is a lot posher than our dashboard. I might insert a little clip of our dashboard as comparison. You get such luxuries as a clock, whereas in ours you don't. And I can see there are a standard fit radio as well. Absolutely decadent luxury. The dashboards on all 4 models are both new and particularly well equipped for small cars. a full array of warning lights, all the standard controls, and here on the Super, a water temperature gauge and a quartz clock. Now that's interesting because we do have a water temperature gauge on ours, so I'm not too sure why they're highlighting that as something that's unique to just the Super, but nevertheless, that's what they say. So in this next picture, we can see the very practical hatchback in full display with the seats folded down. The original 127 was one of the very first hatchbacks. The 1050 Comfort, the 1050 Super and the 1300 GT 5-speed all have a third door with 37.5 cubic feet of space with the rear seats folded down. My goodness me, is that suggesting that the 900 Comfort wasn't a hatchback? That's extraordinary. I'm not sure about that, so it's just whether the way they've typed it, but it does read that way, doesn't it? Now, looking at this interior, again, this is a Super interior, which is quite a bit plusher than ours. Those seats look really quite luxurious. Let's see what they have to say about it. The interiors have been completely redesigned right across the range. The 1050 Super, shown here, has high-quality, hard-wearing tweed cloth seats, reclining front seats, individually folding rear seats, a radio and carpeting throughout. Yeah, I mean, if I insert a picture of our interior, the seats are quite different. We've still got carpeting throughout, but again, I'm not sure our seats recline. I think they just tip to allow access to the rear, but there's no reclining going on. So the Super was definitely a step up, and it certainly seems by this pamphlet that that's the model that they're pushing. And then again, we finish on the 1300 GT 5-speed. At the top of the new range, the sporting 1300 GT 5-speed. Note the stylish, distinctive grille and spoilers at the front, as well as above and below the rear window. So yeah, it was almost like trying to pretend to be a bit of a hot hatch. But when we turn to the specification page, I think we have to take that a little bit with a pinch of salt, because performance 0 to 62 in the 1300 GT was 12 seconds. I mean, that's hardly hot hatch territory even for the 80s. I mean, it was fast compared with the rest of the range. You'll note that our 1050 Comfort and the 1050 Super only managed the 0 to 62 sprint in 17.5 seconds. So these are slow cars. It's interesting that the 5th speed gearbox doesn't alter the ratios to make the 0 to 60 sprint any quicker. And then really struggling down at the bottom, the 900 Comfort, 19.1 seconds. God, that's going to be painful, isn't it? But yeah, I'm not going to go through all the specifications there. You can pause at this point and look up anything you particularly want to see. But lovely to get these little pamphlets with cars. It's always a great treat. This was issued by Fiat Auto UK Limited, Great West Road, Brentford, Middlesex, TW8 9DJ. And as I say, it's date stamped April 1982, right at the time that Maia's car was being registered. I hope you found that interesting. I hope that you'll continue to watch the channel for updates on Maia's Fiat 127. We can't wait for our first show. Thanks ever so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again very soon. Cheers now.